No final roar. No desperate escape. Just one colossal impact, and the world ignites. Within hours of the asteroid strike, the blue sky turns into a raging inferno. Molten debris rains down like fiery bullets. Shockwaves flatten forests in seconds. Oceans rise into walls of superheated steam. Temperatures soar past 1,000 degrees Celsius. Step outside, you're dead. No exceptions. But how is that even possible? How does a planet overflowing with life burn in a single day? Forests collapse into charcoal. The air thickens with sulfur and ash. Fragments of space rock slam back to Earth, still glowing red hot. And then, silence. A terrifying silence this planet had not known for hundreds of millions of years. No birds. No roars. No movement. Could this be the end of everything? An entire biosphere erased in a geological heartbeat. But there's a catch. The impact was only the beginning. And it gets worse. If you're ready to uncover what truly happened in that apocalyptic moment, comment 1. You think the explosion was the worst part? No. The real nightmare began after. The sun didn't just set, it was swallowed. Billions of burning forests blasted soot and dust into the stratosphere. A global shroud formed. Light vanished. Earth plunged into a lethal nuclear winter. But how is that even possible? How does a once warm planet turn into a frozen tomb? Temperatures nosedive. Morning looks like dusk. Afternoon feels like eternal midnight. You lose track of time. No sunrise. No sunset. Just suffocating gray. And it gets worse. No sunlight means no photosynthesis. No photosynthesis means plants collapse. Forests wither. Vegetation dies en masse. When the foundation falls, everything above it crashes down. Food chains shatter. Herbivores starve. Predators follow. Could this be the end of everything we know? Then the rain comes. Not ordinary rain. Acid rain. Scorching, corrosive. It burns leaves. Leaches soil. Poisons rivers. Oceans turn dark and toxic. Plankton vanish. And when the base of the marine ecosystem collapses, the seas go silent. How long could you survive in a world with no light? No food? No sound? The giants that ruled for 160 million years erased. No final screen. No legacy. Just cold and darkness. But here's the twist. Not everything died. If you believe life can rise from extinction, comment 1. If you think this was truly the end, comment 0. Not everything died. In the razor-sharp cold, in the suffocating dark, something endured. But how is that even possible? When the sun vanished? When forests turned to ash? When the oceans became toxic graveyards? The survivors weren't massive. They weren't dominant. They weren't kings. They were small, silent, relentless. Imagine you're no bigger than a fist. You don't need herds to hunt. You don't need vast territory. You need a burrow, a damp crevice, a muddy riverbank. That's enough. Small mammals dug deeper than ever before. They curled into the frozen soil. Heartbeats slowed. Breathing thinned. They didn't chase. They didn't roar. They waited. In the ashes, a few birds, the last living descendants of the dinosaurs, scratched for forgotten seeds. They didn't soar high. They didn't need blue skies. They stayed low, and that saved them. Beneath thick layers of mud, crocodilians lay almost motionless. Their heart rates barely flickered. Metabolism dropped to survival mode. They could starve for months, even years. Could you? And it was worse on land. But deep in the oceans, life still burned in the dark. Near hydrothermal vents, microorganisms thrived without sunlight. No photosynthesis, no warmth from above. They fed on minerals, on chemical energy, on the raw heat of Earth itself. They didn't depend on the Sunday, so they didn't fall with it. Life didn't win through strength. It won through adaptation. When the world of giants collapsed, the age of the small began. And in that crushing darkness, as ash still drifted from the sky, as the cold still tightened its grip, a quiet question formed. If they survived, what happens when the light comes back? Life returned faster than you think. Not with roars, not with massive footsteps shaking the ground, but with a fragile green sprout piercing through thick black ash. But how is that even possible? When the soil is poisoned, when the sky is still gray, when the rain tastes like death itself, the first light finally touches Earth after months. Pale, weak, almost meaningless. But it's enough. Just a sliver of light, and life clings to it like a drowning soul clutching a lifeline. Ferns appear, not towering, not majestic, but spreading with astonishing speed. Their spores drift through sulfur-laden air, landing on still warm ash, taking root, multiplying, forming stubborn green carpets that cover burned valleys. Scientists call this the Fern spike, fossil evidence showing a planet trying again from scratch. Do you see the terrifying part? The old world is gone. No instant return of primeval forests. No herds of dinosaurs roaming again. Only a new ecosystem. Simpler, rougher, but more resilient. And it gets worse. Because in this new world, the rules have changed. Small mammals begin leaving their burrows more often. They sniff through damp ash, nibble roots, hunt insects. Every step is cautious. But every step also screams, we are still here. On cracked ground, a few birds scratch for buried seeds. They are no longer shadows of dinosaurs. They are the dawn of a new age. What are you witnessing? Not recovery, reconstruction, not a return to the past, but the rewriting of the future. From the ashes, from the freezing cold, from the horrifying darkness, Earth does not come back the same. It becomes something entirely new. Here's the shocking truth. After the apocalypse, the new rulers weighed less than a kilo. Not massive monsters, not bloodthirsty predators. Just creatures the size of your fist. Shivering, cautious, but alive. Do you see the paradox? What once got stomped beneath dinosaur feet now steps into the light. Tiny mammals, jet black eyes, needle-sharp teeth. They dig through damp ash, gnaw on bitter roots, hunt the remaining beetles. Not picky, not hesitant. But here's the catch. Their small size saved them. A tiny body needs almost no food. A deep burrow keeps warmth trapped. Reproduce fast. One generation dies. Two more take its place. While giants starve because they demand too much, these tiny survivors endure on almost nothing. In just 100,000 years, mammal numbers explode. Within 300,000 years, their diversity surpasses even pre-asteroid levels. And in just 700,000 years, a blink in geological time, their average weight multiplies 100-fold. From half a kilo to 50 kilos. From rat-sized creatures to wolf-sized predators. Do you understand how terrifying that is? The world doesn't just recover. It accelerates. It experiments. It supercharges evolution, as if making up for 160 million years frozen under the shadow of dinosaurs. And it gets worse. As these small creatures grow, competition returns. Longer teeth, denser muscles, smarter brains. A new era emerges, not built on raw strength, but on ruthless adaptability. You are witnessing a silent transfer of power, from rulers of sheer size to rulers of endurance. And this is only the beginning, because as these creatures keep growing, the next chapter of Earth's story will no longer be small. No, the era of the tiny creatures didn't last forever. In just a few 100,000 years, mammals began to swell. Not slowly, not hesitantly, but in a sudden, unstoppable explosion. Can you imagine a world so empty? No dinosaurs dominating the land. No massive shadows blotting out the sun. Ecological niches yawned open, and the creatures that once trembled in burrows now stepped out, claiming every gap. But how is that even possible? The answer lies in opportunity. When the top predator vanished, the rules changed. Food became abundant, competition thinned, new pressures arose, and evolution went into overdrive. Within 700,000 years, their average weight multiplied 100-fold, from half a kilo to 50 kilos. But that was just the beginning. Over the next millions of years, the stage filled with deadly saber-toothed predators, colossal herbivores, living tanks of muscle and bone, burrowers, climbers, swimmers. Some returned to the oceans, eventually becoming whales larger than any dinosaur that ever lived. Do you see the irony? The very creatures that survived by hiding in darkness now ruled land, sky, and sea. But here's the catch. This explosion wasn't a miracle. It was the result of brutal pressure. Individuals that failed to adapt vanished. Weak lineages were wiped out. High-speed evolution came with ruthless culling. And it gets scarier. Because among these evolving branches, one line began developing a bigger brain than normal. More curious, more complex. A line that would learn to use tools, learn to control fire, learn to reshape the entire planet. Without the asteroid, would that branch ever have existed? You are living the answer. The end of one world cleared the path for yours. No, this wasn't just an extinction. It was a brutal rebirth. One world died. Another was born. Not gently, not kindly, but through ash, dust, and bone-chilling cold. You are alive because of a catastrophic nightmare. But how is that even possible? If the asteroid hadn't struck, would you even exist? Or are you just the product of a single, universe-shaking moment of destruction? Here's the shocking truth. Every civilization, every towering city, every leap in technology, all of it began in darkness and death. But there's a catch. Earth doesn't promise mercy. It has rebuilt itself after hellfire before, and it can do it again. And this time, you might not be the one who survives. If this story sends chills down your spine, type 1, because understanding the past might be the only way to avoid repeating it.